So I store the tulips with the bulb on because that gives me the longest amount of storage. I can store these for upwards of about 4 weeks with the bulb on. But when we go to process them and rehydrate them, I cut off the bulb. And this is why flower farmers say they treat tulips as annuals, because the minute I cut this off, this bulb no longer has any energy source. So if I went to plant this, it has no green leaves to, store energy back into the bulb to bloom again next year. I've cut off its source. So this bulb is now pointless. And I know a lot of people probably were screaming as they dropped into the trash, but I would not get a tulip out of this. So there's no point keeping it. Look at how pretty they are. And go here in a little snug hug. And now when I set them in the water, they'll rehydrate straight instead of like this.
Meow, meow, meow.
We don't want that. So now I'm going to get all of these guys in their wraps, and they'll sit in these buckets all night, and then I'll show you in the morning what they look like. And in the morning they'll be able to stand without the wrap. So I have different varieties and different size stems and different size blooms. And so when I'm making the bouquets, I'm pricing that accordingly of what I'm putting in it to get to my $20 mark. So for some of my arrangements, I'm going to have a mix of tulips, daffodils, and some pretty greenery. And so I'm putting the stems in there that are a good length and good bloom size for that. And then we're also going to offer tulip only arrangements. And I had some tulips. It's these guys right here. They grew on wonderful long stems, but they were a cheaper bulb, so the bloom is not quite as big. I can give you an example here. You can see the bloom size difference. And so I'm going to price them accordingly because this is just going to be a much bigger tulip blossom for someone to enjoy versus this one. So I'm going to offer a tulip only arrangement that's going to have 12 tulips all together. So it'll be a lot of tulips. They'll just be a little bit smaller. And then we're going to offer a wrapped market bouquet looking like this, but I'm going to put the big guys in there, but I'm only going to put 10 in there instead of 12 or 13 of the smaller ones to get to that same value for what we want to sell it for, but that also everyone feels like they're getting their $20 worth of flowers. This, it's a little bit bigger than we will sell them because I said 10, but this has 15. That's a really nice looking tulip bouquet for someone that just wants straight tulips to arrange in their own vase versus the mason jars. I'm trying to process, number, and bunch them based on what I know I need tomorrow. And tomorrow my goal is 3 wrapped bouquets, 4 jars of just the tulips, and then hopefully 15, this guy's a little drunk. He didn't get put in flat. Hopefully 15 of the spring arrangements, which are going to have daffodils, which I already have on the table, opening up a bit for everyone. So I wanted to show you what they look like when they come out of the cooler after they've been in there for a while. So this is a 2-week-old. I harvested this 2 weeks ago. This is what he looks like when he comes out of the cooler. And it looks horrific. It's like there's no way that is going to look good. How can you sell that? How sad and scary. But I did a test because I wanted to make sure that what everyone says is true is actually true. So let me show you what one looks like that hydrated all last night. So when I pulled this guy out that I'll show you, he looked just like this, total limp noodle. And I put him in some water, and this is what they look like now. So this guy, here's a good example, was completely bent over. And he sat in water all night and perked up as if I just harvested him from the field. So it's really neat how resilient and tough tulips are, and it lets us stretch the season out even longer by putting them in the cooler. Good morning. It is bright and early. The sun hasn't even risen yet, and I'm back out here to make the spring arrangement. So you saw last night in the footage that we pulled everything out of the cooler. We have wrapped and labeled how I'm going to use it, and everything looks really great. I can already tell a lot of it rehydrated well because some of these tulips here were a little bit bent over, a little saggy when we put them in, and they're all standing like straight up, nice little soldiers there, which I'm excited about. I get to go play with flowers. So we have all the tulips like I talked about. We also have some beautiful boxwood greenery, which is it's an evergreen, a boxwood is, but it feels like some of the first green of spring because the grass is still starting to come back. Not all the trees have leaves yet, but the boxwoods are already pushing new growth in our yard. And I just thought that would look really, really nice in our mixed arrangement. And then we have all of my daffodils. I pulled them out of the cooler as well to open up because I wanted in the arrangement for them to largely be open for people to choose from. But there will be some, there will be some that aren't quite open all the way. And the most discerning customers will choose those arrangements because they'll know that that means their arrangement will last even longer because the daffodil still has life in it, time to open. And then what else do I need? I don't think I need anything else in my assembly. I'm going to start with the easy market wrapped bouquets of just the straight 10 tulip stems. I think I'm going to get those done first and then move on to just the tulip mini arrangements and then the mixed arrangements. I'm hoping, since this is the first time doing it this year, I don't feel like I have any efficiencies or like process that I do things in, so I'm probably going to be kind of like a Roomba that feels like it's doing the most inefficient path possible as I try to figure out how I want to use this space and how it's all going to work. But I'm really excited to get to play with flowers and make all the arrangements for the stand. So let's get going. The 3 market bouquets done. That is 10 stems in a nice wrap, and the ones I chose for these are my Darwin series tulips, the ones that had really long stems, really big buds on the top. So there'll be 10 stems, so it's $2 a stem for $20, which I think is a really great deal because these are going to open up so much bigger than they already are. And they're so pretty. The goal is for most of the tulips to show their color by the time the customers are buying them. And I'm still learning that timing because I really desire to have our customers have their tulips for as long as possible and to be as fresh as possible. And so if I let them get really colored, like let's see an example, like maybe this is a beautiful purple tulip. Beautiful. You can see the color, you can see how big, let me move the leaf. You can see how big the blossom is, but it's already starting to open a bit, which is just showing its age. And so this tulip is going to have a shorter vase life than some of these tighter ones. But then again, customers want to see what color tulips they're buying. They want to see the color in the stand when they get it. And so it's that fine line between not selling a too mature or like blown out tulip and not selling like one you know, that's barely, let's see if you can see this, like that's barely showing a hint of its color. So the reason I woke up really early is to get all these guys done, get them in water. The stand does not open for another 8 hours. So I'm thinking, whoa, I just threw the tulip. I'm thinking that another 8 hours sitting in the water in the cool cottage, the flowers will continue to color up more, but then also when they go out to the stand in much warmer air, they'll also continue to color. So I'll be really curious, I'll show you the timing when I open the stand, what everything looks like that I arranged with this morning. But the market bouquets are done. Now I'm gonna make the tulip only bouquets that are going in jars, and that should go really quickly because I'm not really arranging too much. I'm thinking 12 stems in a jar. About with wanting them to color up more, because you can tell what these colors are going to be. So I've got like a peach and a yellow. I've got some really pretty red and pink back here. This one's going to be orange. So really punchy tropical punch sunset colors here, but they're not fully open. And this is not going to look as impactful as if something was looking, you know, they're looking at fully colored up. So my hope is, again, with learning timing, that these sitting for the next 8 hours or so and then getting out into the warmer air of the stand, they're gonna like shroop, color up pretty fast for people to see. And if not, the lesson learned is I need to just pull them out of the cooler earlier. So maybe like yesterday afternoon instead of last night like I did. So they just have a longer time to get to the color I want for the stand. I think this is a lovely, cheery, tulip only, tulip lover, tulip obsessed bouquet. 1 down, 3 to go. So the tulip minis or tulip lover bouquets are done. Super easy to make. 12 stems in each jar, trying to arrange them a little bit by the color I could see and the height. So when they develop, it looks nice and uniform and pretty for someone to put on their table and not need to fuss with anymore, that they don't have to arrange it again themselves when they take it home. But now I have the tricky ones. I'm gonna make 15 mixed spring arrangements. So that's the boxwoods, the daffodils, and about 6 tulips, but that takes a little more fussing and cutting and trimming and arranging and stuff. So we'll see how this goes. It's so fun playing with flowers. 15 spring arrangements done. Each one, let me find one that's just makes me happy. Each arrangement has 2 boxwoods, 3 daffodils, 4 purples, a special other color, and a parrot. So again, these will hopefully open up here, hanging out for like 6+ hours. People can see all the pretty colors, but this screams spring to me. Someone can grab it at the flower stand, put it directly on their table. It's already done, and they just can get right to enjoying it. All the spring colors, purples, yellows, and greens really just make me think of spring and Easter and all of that. So I'm going to move all of my jars over to the table where everything's waiting, the wraps and the minis. I'm going to be diligent about cleaning up all of my mess. So next time I come in here, I have another clean working space and I don't just keep creating mess upon mess. Expectations here.
Where's S, Nana? Where's S?
I don't need S.
You know Mr. Wind, Nana. But Mr. Wind, but Nana farther than Mr. Wind.
The wind is crazy, but I was able to get all the flowers in the stand. We got our sign. Stuffed full. And the nice thing is we have our little touchscreen checkout for cards. They can tap, follow the prompts, or our trusty cash box. And we're ready. We open at 3 if my notes blow away. So it's been about 90 minutes since the stand has been open. I'm walking up now to check. I think we've sold about 10 or so because I can see the transactions come in and stuff, which is really exciting. But I want to rearrange the jars, see what we're working with. It's been such a windy day, but the way we have the flower stand positioned kind of blocks it, which is great. The flower stand's located in the front of our driveway, and I can see in the windows, and the kids actually peek and see, and they get really excited when they see the cars. Woo! I'm gonna blow away. This is Oklahoma for you. But they get really excited and they cheer, and it's so fun. It's fun. It's been a really great opening day. So let's see what the stand looks like. Ooh! Okay, so this is interesting. I wanted to see what people were gonna go for. So my 3 wrapped bouquets are gone, which doesn't surprise me. Those were the big boys. Those were the big tulips. Not as many stems, but the bigger ones. So that's interesting. I'm kind of floofing, trying to keep things out of the wind. But this is great. Oh, I'm so excited. I plan to keep the stand open probably for a couple more hours. Maybe there's some husbands coming home from work and their wives texted and said, grab me flowers on the way home, that sort of thing. So pretty much until the sun sets, I'll leave it open. But 10 sold, if not more, in first 90 minutes is a fantastic first foray. People will get used to my hours, hopefully, and hopefully plan their week around getting flowers. I know I would if I didn't have a flower farm. I would be like, I want my week's flowers for the table. I really love that sort of thing, especially in spring when things are waking up and maybe you don't have stuff blooming in your own garden. But this is a great, grand opening day for our 2023 flower farm season, and we have so many more exciting things to come, and like buckets and buckets and buckets more of flowers. And I need to go now work on social media to figure out how I can get more people to come, because we have like 2,000 tulips to sell. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and it is just such a joy. We are so thankful at how supportive everyone has been here in Claremore, Oklahoma, of our budding year 2 flower farm. Bye.